Our next question, Jim, was sent in on Twitter using the hashtag CornyDriveThru from Old School Wrestling. After the Ronnie Garvin fireball, you took a bit of a time off. How well do you think the angle played out in your absence? Condry's Cosmic Fireball is one of my all-time favorite promos.
Yes, I actually had, wait a minute, what was it? 14, I had 12 days off. Because, and of course, Dusty did not consult with me ahead of time on this. So I realize now that, he just booked it because that's what, because he was a genius. But I just got married for the very first time. So it was special. And I had arranged to take 12 days off for a honeymoon and go to Hawaii. Right. So it was Valentine's Day that weekend. So I think it was the 13th or 14th, and we were going right out. But whatever the date was in Charlotte, we get there that night, and they're doing TV in the Charlotte Coliseum. They got the Nemo truck there and everything. It's a syndicated TV. And, Dusty had some angles he was doing in the other matches, and he said, okay, he said, boom. He had told me, bring the fire. You're going to throw some fire. I'd got that much of a heads up a couple of days beforehand. And then when he laid the thing out, I'm like, holy shit, this is going to be fucking hot, because I get in and hit Garvin in the face with the fucking fireball, which not only, incinerates him, but, I've saved the U.S. tag title for the Midnight Express. We had a good house there that night. But then here comes Jimmy Garvin. This is the big angle. It's going to turn Jimmy babyface for the next fucking year or whatever. And everybody knew they were brothers, but they didn't make a big deal out of it because they were on opposite sides. But now this has been so heinous that I've done this to Ronnie Garvin that Jimmy, even though he's a heel and has been associated with us in the past and comes from the same locker room, he's going to fucking get mad at me and attack me and blah, blah, blah.
And that's great. The way he charges through and gets you is amazing.
Well, and see, that was legitimate back in the Charlotte Coliseum. In the back, there was a big open area that you could drive a vehicle up in as kind of a concrete ramp. And then the heel locker room was on the right side of that. And the babyface locker room was on the left-hand side. And if you went out in that area, which was closed to the public and it was pitch black, if you needed to talk to one of your opponents, you could. But it wasn't, it wasn't just a mingle area. So when the camera follows Jimmy, who's bundling Ronnie and his burnt face down the aisle, and the people are screaming, we've already left, the cops taking us out, and people are throwing shit. Jimmy settles him down there in the babyface locker room to make sure that everything's okay. And then you see him look over because he knows where to go because he's just left there. He's been in the heels. He fucking runs. He opens the door and runs across that open area in the dark and then boots the fucking heel locker room open. And the Charlotte Coliseum back in it was like fucking that plasterboard doors and shit, right? And that thing flies open and I know he's coming, but he came like a goddamn cannonball. Because he had told me, he said, I'm going to come. I said, I'm going to cover up. So do what you need to do, right? And as soon as I saw him coming, I throw my hands up over my fucking head and come off that chair underneath him and curled up in a fucking fetal position. And he's wailing on me. And all the fucking heels are trying to grab him. And the baby faces have run in trying to grab fucking, I don't know what the fuck. Because I'm covered up in a fetal position, right? I don't know what was happening. There was a lot of screaming. And then he, of course, grabs Ronnie and he and Precious take him to the hospital. So that was the last night that I was there. And this was before the internet. I was not about to fucking call from Hawaii on my honeymoon to see how things were doing, right? So I get back. It was the day before the Bunkhouse Stampede final in Pittsburgh that set the record with Dusty and Bubba. But I think I came back into Minneapolis or whatever and got to see the fucking TBS show in the hotel room before we went to the show that night. And that's the first time I saw the tape where, oh my God, Ronnie's fucking face went up in fucking flames and the fireball had stuck to him. Because I knew, because I'd called him afterwards that night, like, Ronnie, he said, no, I told you to make it look good, but it stuck to his fucking face. It burned his eyebrows off and his nose hair and fucking took the first layer of skin off his cheeks. But anyway, I saw what it looked like. And then we got to TBS. Did we do TBS? I don't know. But when I got back to TBS, to do a show again and got the hate mail, some that I still have framed on my office wall here. You know, how dare you said you'll be consigned to the flames of hell for setting that man on fire. It was insane. We had a ton of heat over that. And then, when I went back to TBS was when also Dusty told me, yeah, kid, we're going to book you against Garvin. Oh, that's great. In a cage. What? One-on-one? We did that like 3 or 4 times. Charlotte, Norfolk. Charlotte did $70,000 for Jim Cornette versus Ronnie Garvin in a cage when tickets were $10 and $12.
How'd those matches go?
No, he was fantastic. It was fucking easy. Let me give you, and nobody, once again, there's 7,000 people in the Charlotte Coliseum, and this was not a real strong undercard either, to be quite honest with you, and not a soul left pissed off or griping about the work rate. Ronnie Garvin goes out in the fucking cage. They play the Midnight Express music. Here I come in a fucking neck brace and an arm sling with the midnight behind me, with a note from my doctor that I've slipped and hurt myself in training, and there's no way I can compete tonight, and offering Ronnie Garvin the opportunity to pick either one of the Midnight Express to be his opponent instead. I think the Rock and Roll Express come out from behind, fucking nail Dennis, grab me and throw me in a fucking cage, and the door slams, because now we've already killed 5 or 6 fucking minutes, right? Maybe longer. And this door slams behind me, and I get up and fucking see Garvin, and I immediately throw the fucking sling over my head, right? Like, oh, fuck, because I need both arms, and I'm begging him. And he's fucking, I'm going to fucking kill you. And I start climbing the goddamn cage. And while the Rock and Roll Express is fending the midnight off from the door outside, I climb up past the top rope on the fucking cage like I'm going to get out. And Garvin reaches up and grabs the back pockets of my fucking suit pants and fucking rips my goddamn pants to shreds right off of me, right? I've still got the belt and some shit hanging. Right now I'm in my shirt and my fucking tie and a neck brace. And I take the bump, and he takes the fucking neck brace off of me and lets everybody see it, and then wraps it back around my fucking neck and starts throttling me. And my arms and legs are fucking flying everywhere because he's choking me to fucking death, and the people are screaming. And then he throws that aside, and then I think he takes my tie, right? And he does something with the fucking tie around my neck or whatever, and I'm trying to get out. I go for the door, and he fucking grabs me, and he pulls me back in. He's never struck me yet, right? He may have somehow he throws me back in. I take a big bump across the goddamn ring. And the referee's telling him, stop, you're going to kill the man. And I go in my fucking what's left of my pants pocket or my shorts or somewhere and get the powder and throw the powder in his eyes, right? And now he's blind, staggering around. Now the goddamn Rock and Roll Express is on one side of the ring, screaming at the people, go, Ronnie, go, and they're behind him. And on the other side, the Midnight's going, kill him, Jimmy, and I pull out the fucking knucks. I slip the knucks on, and I punch him right in the fucking head. And I got a pretty good punch. It didn't look too bad. Garvin goes down and gets color. So now I'm standing there with the fucking brass knucks with my pants ripped off in shreds, a fucking shirt that the tail is out because it's got nowhere to go. And Ronnie Garvin's got powder all over him. He's down, and I've got the knucks. And I hit him a couple more times with the fucking knucks before the referee can see him and take him away. And now Ronnie Garvin is bleeding and selling. Ha, 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 ha. And I goddamn put the boots to him as he's trying to come up in the corner. I put the boots to him. I rake his eyes. He goes down. I hit the ropes. I come off with a big elbow drop. Of course he moves. I splatter myself. The people fucking roar again. Now he pulls himself up to his feet by the ropes in the corner and looks over at me with the goddamn powder and the blood streaming down his face. And I fucking put the brakes on and my knees quiver and I put my hands out. No, please. And he fucking goddamn comes over and grabs a hold of me. And I think that's where he picked me up and gave me a fucking slam. But he wasn't going to hit me with his knockout punch. He's got to do some shit, right? He picks me up. He gives me a fucking slam. He gets over the top of me. You've never seen a more terrifying visage than Ronnie Garvin, working pissed off, with blood and powder all over his face, throwing punches down at you. He fucking grabs me and he hits me once. He hits me twice. He hits me 3 times. Can't feel a fucking thing. Look like he's killing me. And then he fucking grabs me in a double-handed choke around my neck like he's going to fucking finish me off and do what he's promised to the people. But since he's choking me there, I'm flat on the mat and the referee goes down, and before Ronnie realizes it, counts 1, 2, 3. Ding, 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 the match is over. Now the door can be opened. When the door is opened, here comes the fucking rock and roll and the midnight pouring in. The midnight are trying to grab me. The rock and roll are trying to stop them, blah, blah, blah. Big schmoz. They pull me out before he can fucking mutilate me. And there leaves Ronnie standing in the ring with his hands in the air and the Rock and Roll Express cheering for him, and the people loved it and fucking went berserk and went home happy. That was a main event in the old days, folks. Now they would have said, oh, goddamn. What the fuck? Anyway.
That was the series of matches that cradled Dennis leaving and Stan coming in, was the Express versus Garvin and Wyndham.
Yes, and Ronnie and Jimmy as a team at in various points there.
Yeah.
Over that period of time. But Dennis's interview, that was so on TBS the following week, since I was in Hawaii, they came out and said, of course, that I had been suspended. That's where Dusty had me do that so that it could turn Jimmy Garvin babyface, set us up with another team to wrestle, put some heat on us, keep the U.S. tag title, because the match was with Ronnie Garvin and Barry Windham, keep the U.S. tag title program going, explain my absence for 12 whole days, and put some, oomph on everything. And Dennis came out and did the promo and said that it was nothing that I did. It was a cosmic fireball that struck Ronnie Garvin, which was at least they aired that when that was, of course, I came back and followed up with, well, his face went up like the Challenger. And that's, as we've told the story, when the lights went dim and they called me back to the production, or to the director's booth where Dusty could let me know to do that again and not mention the Challenger. Do it again, kid. Don't mention the Challenger.